So welcome back to Comedy or Worse. I'm here with my very special guest,
Alec Velarde.
Alec Velarde.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Well, welcome.
Thank you. Glad
How's
to
it
be
going?
here.
Maybe just scoot in just a tad.
Right.
Just for
Get
you're
closer
on
to the
camera
mic.
and be closer to the mic. Okay, cool. Okay, so how do you use a stage name?
No, I used to go by Alec V, and I just started using my actual name, Alec Velarde.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So what got you into comedy?
I've been a lifelong comedy fan, pretty much since I can remember.
Yeah.
Started off in music. I did that for, about 20 years.
Wow.
And for some reason, in the back of my head, I always thought, like, man, I wish I could just do comedy. But I always had, like, the fear of doing it. And then one day, it's like, why don't you just do it? So, yeah. Finally built up the nerve. Took me years of thinking I'm going to do an open mic, and then finally built up the nerve, and now I'm doing it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, when you were doing music, what were you doing in music?
At first I sang, played guitar, and then I joined different bands. Some of them I'd play bass, some I'd sing, some I'd just play guitar. So a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you think that prepared you for being in front of an audience, or is it just totally different?
A little of both. Like, I think because I come from like the punk rock world where it's, and a lot of it was I'm used to. I come from a small town. I come from Apple Valley, California, and a lot of that is you're not playing in front of big crowds, or sometimes a crowd that's not interested. So it prepares you for bombing in a sense, but. You'd think it would be the same thing, but it's just a totally different machine when you don't have that level of noise or that like adrenaline rush. Like you don't want to have a bunch of adrenaline necessarily when it's just you and a microphone and be out of breath. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Sometimes with the roast battle, I can get adrenaline.
Oh yeah.
But that's the only time. Anyway. I mean, I don't know. It seems like if I could like figure out how to get adrenaline on stage, to like help make it more dynamic and funny. I don't know. Yeah, it's a long process of like, it's like a lot of times at least for me, it feels like it'd be funnier off stage.
Yeah.
It's hard to like, be funny.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a totally different machine.
Let's become an audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. So how long have you been doing comedy now?
I started my first one was in September, and I first did it, and then I took like a couple months off, but I've been doing it pretty actively. So altogether, only a few months now, but yeah, I'm pretty hooked on it.
Nice. Well,
yeah.
Yeah, we like every level of comics. So
yeah. How long have you been doing it?
Over 6 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was hard to do it during lockdown, but
yeah, I can imagine.
Went to a few parking lot mics, I think like 2, and then I was working right when I was like working in the kitchen here, trying to keep this place going.
Yeah.
We're in the brick room of the Madhouse Comedy Club for all you audio listeners. Yeah, so let's see. What's your writing process for comedy?
It's honestly, kind of the same as music, where I can't necessarily say I have one way of doing it. A lot of it I do when I'm at work, because I work an office job, so I have a computer, and I'll just randomly get an idea, and I'll jot it down, and then on my breaks, I'll go in my car and just kind of repeat it over and over. And for the most part, something I've been learning to do lately is I'll usually write like 5 or 6 paragraphs that I think, oh man, I got this 3-minute chunk, and then I keep going over it, and then it amounts to maybe 10, 15 seconds of just trying to cut everything down, trim the fat. But yeah, it usually comes from writing a big piece and then just trimming it down from there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Do you ever write on stage?
A little bit. I've tried that a few times. I think I'm still not at a level where I'm totally comfortable doing that. I want to be at that stage, but for the most part, I write it out, I try it on stage, I listen to it, I go back, like this worked, this didn't work, so a little of both.
Are you recording video or just audio?
Audio.
I would do video.
Yeah, I've done that a few times, and it does help because you're like, oh, why do I stand like that? I look like an idiot. Yeah.
Just do video.
Yeah.
Unless there's, I even like, there's mics where they're like, oh, don't, don't record video, and I'll just still,
what is
I'll record a video, but it'll be like pointing up or something.
Yeah, that
Because
makes
I need
sense.
the audio, and it's nice that you can like look at the timer on the phone.
Oh yeah,
You know.
that's actually I should do that so it stays on because that's something I always record it, but it goes blank when it's just the audio. So I think I'm gonna start doing that.
Yeah, and also then all your things are in the same place. Even
True, yeah.
They're all videos, even though maybe the video is nothing.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's what I learned.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that tonight.
Sweet. So where did you start comedy?
Right now I'm currently in Palm Springs, and there's a new club out there. I was just looking online. I started to see that they were doing shows and open mics, and again for months I was like, I'm gonna do it, and then one day I finally built up the courage. I showed up there, and even then they have like a slotted open mic list. I erased my name, and I was like, no, I'm just gonna watch. And like, well, if you change your mind, and then they called my name anyway, and I just went up and tried it. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's great because maybe
that I kind of need that because I don't know, I'm bad with procrastination, so I almost signed myself up for something knowing like I don't want to, and then by the end of it I'm so glad I did it. So yeah,
definitely. So are you at a point where you're addicted to doing comedy, or
yeah, it's like you get off, it's all you think about, whether good or bad. It's like they're both good for you. When you do a show where you might bomb or this didn't work, then all you can think about, you can't get out of your head until you go up again, and then when you do well, it's kind of the same thing. How can I make this better?
Yeah, that's cool. So who's the funniest person in your life right now?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I mean, because now being around a lot of local comedians, there's a lot of people that are just naturally funny. But I mean, the one that I laugh at the most, I mean, might be kind of hacky, but it's definitely my girlfriend. We're just always kind of making fun of each other, and but you need that,
exactly the point of that.
Exactly,
is to show people that even comics.
Yeah.
The funniest person in the comic's life, it usually isn't another comic.
Oh yeah. Yeah. How about you?
Who's the funniest person in my life right now? I don't know. It's like depends on. Well, right now it's like I'm trying to get better at like calling people and talking to people. I just like my family's in general.
Yeah.
Even like funny sometimes in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't want to get into details, but
yeah.
So,
and then even with me, I mean, my family, like my brother, we just grew up. My brother, my parents, everybody's just funny and making fun of each other. In a nice way. It never gets ugly, but it's kind of the way I grew up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So, are you thinking about doing roast battles at all, or?
I don't have confirmation that I'm doing it, but I signed up for one. So I might be doing it next week, but I don't have confirmation yet.
And where would that
so I'm
be
hoping.
at?
This is in Palm Springs. I've done one where it was like an open mic. So I kind of wasn't prepared because it's like, okay, you're going against this person. So I was like, I wish I had time to prepare, but did that. And then it's like, okay, I thought that was over. And it's like, okay, now it's the final rounds. Like, oh man. But I would definitely like to do it if I have time to write. But it was an interesting experience, yeah.
So you're doing it maybe next week, and it's the final round from the thing that you.
No, this was totally different. This would be against one person, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Oh, that's cool. So are you still doing music at all, or are you just doing comedy?
Not really. Yeah, I mean, I got to a point where it's like, man, I've been doing this for so long, it didn't quite get anywhere. And like I said, I'm into punk rock, so there's not really a future in there. And I never looked at it from a standpoint of money or any success in that regard. But after a while, you're like, man, I've been doing this for years, and I'm just kind of doing it for myself. And honestly, even when I was doing music, I always loved comedy so much more. I just thought like, oh, it's not for me. I don't have that skill. I don't have it. And then,
That's interesting.
yeah. So now that I'm doing comedy, that's pretty much my whole life.
Okay. So you're probably not going to do like a comedy song or something.
Nothing like that. Like I'm always coming up with stuff in my head. Like I'm in the midst. Like I want to do a podcast, which I know everybody's doing, but I just kind of want to do it. So I'm just in my spare time getting used to being funny into a microphone.
Yeah.
And I'd like to add music to the back of that just to kind of keep that creative process going.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, everybody has their own path. You never know what's gonna hit. So
yeah.
It makes sense to just, you know, like, oh, everybody has a podcast. It's like, well, yeah.
So what? Yeah. I mean, as a comedy nerd, I love it because it's almost like you never quite run out of things to listen to, and it's like if you don't want to listen, you don't have to. So I don't think it's necessarily flooded. I think it's just the more the better.
I mean, think about like all. It would have been nice to have more recordings of like comics in the 70s.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That end up got big, and it's like, well, you hardly have anything from when they were just.
Yeah, and that's the way I look at it, because like you have like the brief little Tonight Show appearances. It's like, how good would it have been to just have a microphone in the back of a room with, Pryor and Carlin and all these people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's see. So you're from Palm Springs and now you're here in San Diego. Are you like touring, or are you just here for a vacation? Or
I just wanted to try it out. I want to branch out, and I come out here for shows every once in a while. I've been to the American Comedy Company a few times, and I've been wanting to check this place out. And I keep saying like, oh, I'm gonna go out there and just spend a day trying to hit mics, check out the city a little more, and then I just decided to do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, San Diego is a great comedy scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple, I forget the names off the top of my head. We've had a couple of people from San Diego come out to Palm Springs, and it was like, yeah, these people are really good. So, I want to come out here and try it.
Yeah, there's like mics where there's not just comics there.
Yeah.
So it helps make you stronger.
Oh, yeah.
Better. I mean, we have comedy 7 nights a week, open mic 7 nights a week here.
And it's not like that necessarily up there,
There's a lot of cities and states that just don't have that.
Yeah, and like I said, I come from Apple Valley, which is like a pit stop between San Bernardino and Barstow. So anything like that is virtually unheard of up there. I think now, because comedy's getting pretty big, I think I actually see that they do an open mic there now, but there's never been any kind of comedy up there.
All right. Well, that's good. More comedy. So obviously you wish you started comedy earlier.
I do, and I don't, because I'm getting older. I wish I would have started at a different time, but you know what? It's kind of like at different points in my life when I thought about starting it, I was a totally different person. So I don't know if it would have been good just to develop the fundamentals back then, but maybe my voice wouldn't be different. I wouldn't have the life experiences. So I don't know. Maybe I mean, we'll see. Maybe it worked out for the best, but
sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. So what's life experiences? You've been in a car accident or
nothing like that? Just when I was younger, because like I said, I've been into comedy for so long. But prior to that, I mean, I lived at home. I worked just like minimum wage jobs. I didn't have any responsibilities. Where had I had a voice back then, I think it would have been a lot different. I would have looked at the world differently, and instead I got a real job. I worked, like a lot of like laborious stuff, got my own place, had responsibilities, and it changed my outlook on a lot of things. It opened my eyes to a lot, because I used to be really into politics when I was younger, and then I don't know, something about like working a 12-hour shift and just like 6 days a week. After a while, you're like, you know what, I can have a different opinion than so-and-so, and I don't have so much venom towards them. We're all just trying to do the same thing. It kind of gave me a better, I don't know, it humbled me.
There's definitely crazy things going on in politics right now, and it's almost like there's things where if people just stopped and saw what's really going on, then they would really realize, oh, it's just the upper class.
Yeah, that's that. It's not. And then it trickles and it makes everybody fight with each other. It's like we all have way more in common than we have with any people
I mean,
up
everybody
there.
wants the Epstein list, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there's no list.
Yeah.
What?
Huh. It's peculiar.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what side. Everybody was wanting that list. everybody knows that.
Yeah, fact of the matter is probably a lot of people, obviously both sides, like, we just want it,
Yeah, and even if there's not an actual list, they said there's videos.
Oh, yeah, there's evidence,
So,
yeah. It's magically gone now.
Yeah. Anyway, that's where we're at right now.
Yep.
That's where we're recording this. Well, this will probably come out next week, so
Okay,
it's not going to be.
We'll see what happens by then,
I
yeah.
don't know. Maybe they'll have found the list. So, you've been a fan of comedy, so do you have like a favorite fan interaction?
Favorite fan interaction?
It also could be somebody you're at some show that you were on, and you know a fan's like, "Oh, that was really good."
Let me see. I will just say, for me as a fan, my mom actually, like, my mom's a singer. She's a singer in Palm Springs. That's how the Palm Springs thing happened. And she somehow developed a friendship with Mark Cohen, who's like an old comic, LA and New York, funny guy. And then she ended up singing backup vocals in his band for a little bit. And I would go to her shows like in my early 20s, and I got to hang out with them. It was, Mark Cohen, Blaine Capatch, who was like in the alt comedy in the early 90s. John Manfredi, he was on Everybody Loves Rain, but it was just this weird amalgamation of people, but just kind of getting a little glimpse in that world. And then they had a show at some bar in LA, and this was, again, probably like 15 years ago, but just at the bar, and then I'm sitting at a table, and suddenly Jeff Ross and Craig Robinson is there, and it was cool just being in that world. I spilled Pepsi all over Craig Robinson. It was, but yeah. It was cool, and then getting just a glimpse of that, like growing up being such a fan, and then I got to meet Joe List, who I'm a huge fan of, and he was super nice, and little things like Mark Norman, he always replies to me on Instagram, which is like, he's a big guy, he doesn't have to do that. It's just the little things that even in my mid to late 30s, I still kind of geek out over. Yeah.
Cool. So are you listening to any comedy podcasts right now?
Oh yeah, too many.
What ones?
My favorite is probably Tuesdays with Stories, and that's Joe List, Mark Norman, but kind of all over the board with that. Yeah, what are your favorites?
Before I got into comedy, I was like listening to like Pete Holmes.
Yeah.
Made it weird. Occasionally, I was listening to Mark Maron.
Yeah, that was the first, before I really knew about podcasts, where it was WTF, and when you used to have to download weird apps to listen to it.
Yeah. And, back in the day, I would listen to Nerdist, and then there was some controversy with that guy.
Yeah.
And then I just like stopped.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it was like, especially that I have like friends that know, the other side of that story, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sort of like, I don't want to get into controversies. And
oh yeah.
He's been exonerated.
Sure. Actually, years ago, I got to see Pete Holmes. Louis Anderson was hosting. It was Louis Anderson, Pete Holmes, and Bill Burr.
Wow.
Such a weird lineup, but it was an amazing show, and I was sitting second, like this close to them. Yeah, it was a great show.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Let's see. So, I know you haven't been doing comedy that long or very many places, but right now, what's your favorite place to do comedy?
Right now, the one I'm most comfortable with is Palm Springs. We have a little
What's
club.
The place called?
It's called the Rock Gallery, and it's the only designated comedy club in all of the Coachella Valley. And it's just awesome little place. Probably about the size of this room, about 40 seats, but intimate, low walls, just all black, and it's just a great little place.
So it seats like 40, you said?
Yeah, about 30. I think about 40. Yeah.
Okay. So is it full a lot, or?
Yeah, I mean, when they're doing shows every weekend, those sell out. Some of the open mics lately are a little empty, but I think it's Palm Springs in summer. Nobody's out there.
Sure.
But yeah, during the colder months, they would get pretty packed.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So here in San Diego, what other cities do you want to go do comedy in?
Pretty much everywhere. I mean, right now I want to get to as many places in California as possible, and then once I get better and develop an act, just literally anywhere I can go with it. But I've done Orange County, and I really liked it out there. I want to hit LA a little bit more next month. I want to come back to San Diego, just wherever I can. Yeah.
Cool. Are there places in between Palm Springs and San Diego?
I don't know if there's places like, because in between would be like Temecula-ish.
Oh, right.
So I'm not sure.
There's some stuff in Temecula.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're driving through, it makes sense. But at least for me, I'm not motivated to go to Temecula right now. Sorry.
Yeah.
Guys. I'm going to go that far. I might as well go to LA.
Yeah, that's the thing. I grew up in Apple Valley, so anything close is, I don't know, you're looking at like 60 miles away for it to seem. So I'm so used to commuting. Sure. But when I'm also commuting for work and stuff like that, you get a little sick of it. But yeah.
Wow. You don't get to work from home, huh?
No, I wish.
Yeah.
Even that, it's not that bad. Like when I tell people, like, oh, it's so far, but for me, it's not bad. Like my work's probably like 40, 45 minutes away. But yeah.
Cool. So do you like listen to audiobooks or music, podcasts?
Almost exclusively podcasts, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been like that.
I hope you listen to every episode of
No,
comedy.
I've listened to a lot of them, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I'm honored. That's awesome. I hope I'm doing a good job.
Yeah.
It's like,
No, it's good, and it's cool to see some of the up-and-coming people around here, and it's cool to see that there's something coming out of the Madhouse. Yeah.
Like, there's so many reasons to do a podcast, but I never was. I thought like, oh yeah, at one point someone will die or whatever, and then like actually had someone that was on the podcast, and a few months later, like maybe 7 months at the most, passed away.
Yeah.
Ryan Shores is awful. I don't know exactly what happened, but he had like a staph infection at one point on Facebook. He's like joking about dying, and then he passed away. Yeah, there was a memorial
that
here.
Sucks.
You know, he had several people, friends and family organized multiple things.
Yeah.
But there was one here at the Madhouse, and it was nice to see people come out.
Yeah, the community.
And it was like, I felt like, I didn't really know him that well. He's on my podcast.
But I mean, when you, like you said, I mean, it's horrible that happened. It's something that'll memorialize him literally forever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like, I mean, he had podcasts himself too, but I don't think he was currently doing any at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so what is your earliest memory?
Earliest memory? I don't, after a certain point, you don't remember if you're remembering the memory or if you're remembering what you think was a memory, but for some reason, I've always had this distinctive memory of crawling around in my grandma's, like in the kitchen on the ground and just looking up at a counter. And that's all I remember, but like I still distinctively remember looking at a microwave. Wow. I have no idea why, but, and again, I don't know if I'm just thinking about remembering that, but I've just always had that in my head.
Yeah. And sometimes like those, you'll remember stuff because there's a picture of it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I remember this would have been years later, but at that same house, it was like the day my mom decided to take my bottle away from me. Like I was too old. I should have been so pissed off. But yeah, I still remember that for whatever reason. Yeah.
Hope you don't get back on the bottle.
Yeah, just do me a favor.
Let's see. So you grew up in you were born in Apple Valley?
Born, yeah. Grew up there, too.
And how far away is Apple Valley from Palm Springs?
About 100 miles. Yeah.
Okay. So are you living in
Palm Springs,
okay.
yeah.
At least you're living in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
But like a 40-minute commute is like because there's traffic, or is it just because it's that far away?
Oh, from where I was talking about 40 minutes from where I work. I don't really hit any traffic. I work in Ukaipa, which I don't know if you even know where that's at. It's kind of on the way to San Bernardino.
Okay, yeah.
So it's about 40 minutes,
just,
yeah.
The time is because it's far.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's see. So have you got to book any shows yet?
I've done a couple, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
a couple.
do you run any shows or?
Not yet, and I'd really like to. I remember years ago, because again, here's the thing where I'm always like, oh, I can't do comedy. I'm better at writing. But I was like, wait, you write and then you sing, you perform on stage. It's the same thing, you idiot. So, yeah, and I used to write these things like years ago when Tumblr was a thing, and I would just write these stories called Alec's Sad Stories, and I would just make them funny, whatever. But I'd like to do kind of almost like a storytelling show with that, and just have comics come up and tell stories, not necessarily bits, and just something bad that happened, but making it funny. So I'd like to. And then years later, I didn't even realize that the acronym for that is ASS. Stupid juvenile, but it's like, hey, it works, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, this is called comedy or worse.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to make fun of it.
I like it.
Let's see. Oh, speaking of which, what's the worst thing about comedy right now?
I don't know. I mean, it's easy to look at things just from my perspective. I don't necessarily and this isn't anything against it, it's just something that I personally don't like. I don't like the kill Tony part of comedy, and I don't know, like it does a lot for a lot of people, but I think it also can be detrimental because you have 3-year comics that are selling out, I don't know, huge plays. So again, if I had that opportunity, that's awesome, but I think it's bad for development because it's like you get seen too early and you're not going to evolve past the spot when people are like, oh, you're already good enough. And I mean, that could be wrong, but I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I was on Kill Tony back like when it was still, they were in LA, right before lockdown.
Yeah.
But they were, I tried to go to the store in LA, never got up, but then they came to La Jolla and they had 2 shows. And that was the first one.
Oh, they did one out. Okay.
Yeah, I think they did it two different times. It was like the second time before they moved to Austin. And you know, it's not like everybody that was on Kill Tony.
Yeah, exactly.
Got exposed too early. It's everybody has their own path.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I don't think it's. I mean, you could say that about any.
You say about anything, yeah.
Yeah, like he's only doing comedy for 3 years, and then he became an actor, and he blew up.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe it was too early, you know. But yeah, I think what it is that sometimes people are taking opportunities because they're there, and they can like burn out too fast because they don't have the material.
Yeah.
You know?
Or maybe it's just, I think that's more, because I've heard open micers say that they don't like comedy, which is odd, but I think it's more like I want to have my little clip. And it's like, I could see, you know, when you're doing something a while, you get a little jaded or bitter, and you might say, I don't like, but in the back of your mind, still like, but why begin something?
Have they ran their own show?
But I don't understand.
What have they done for the community?
Yeah, and I don't understand why would you start at the bottom?
All these comics that complain, and like, I used to not run my own show, or have a podcast, or trying to encourage people to go see live comedy and feature comedians. And then someone that ran a show, he's like, he just was like, well, what have you done? Yeah,
and I mean that goes back to when I did music, because I would catch myself. I'd always say like I'm not bitter, but I would catch myself. You have those little selfish thoughts, and maybe you get a little bitter, or jealous, or something. But then I'm like, well, because they got an opportunity because they've been working their ass off. They've been trying it. They did this show. They played in this city you've never seen. It's not because they're luck. Right. It's like also, at the end of the day, I wasn't doing enough.
Luck and opportunity.
Yeah, obviously.
And what do they say? It's also all the stuff that they. Oh man, I lost it. It's not just luck. It's all the stuff that they put in ahead of time.
Yeah.
You know, and their skill level. There's people that are new comics, but they're just so skilled. That,
oh yeah.
You know, that they could just rise up.
Yeah.
And they're gonna. The long-term effect is, it's not like someone is, gonna like fake it all the way to the top. That just
No.
doesn't. And if that happens, it's like I can't imagine people are going to get bored of that.
Yeah.
They're going to move on to the next new thing.
Yeah.
So you got to be just so undeniably funny.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Well, I've said this.
Trying.
I don't know how many times on the podcast, but right now I'm trying to like broaden my comedy as much as I can.
Yeah.
Without compromising the art of it.
Yeah.
And be doing it for so long that it's a snowball effect. That people just I mean there's people. It's crazy. You just see people out on the street and they're like, "Oh, I saw you at the show," or
that's
or
cool.
whatever. Or even like my merch. Like now I'm like wearing my merch, and like I was at a bar for a going away party, and like two different people or someone saw the thing and they started a conversation off my merch.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing. So that it's like I was thinking about that. It's like the person didn't actually buy it, but then they followed me on Instagram.
Yeah, it's just a
like,
little.
It's like this slow,
Exactly,
long process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you enjoy watching other comics like grow, or?
Yeah, I mean that's been a cool thing to see. Just doing mics and going to as many shows as I can. When you see the birth of something, when they literally just go up with an idea, there's no punchline, there's nothing, and then you see a week later maybe there's a little tag, and then a couple months down the line you see it into this developed bit. It's really it's cool. Yeah, it's inspiring.
Yeah, it's cool. So, are there any writing groups in your area? Or maybe you could start
Not that I'm aware of. Like, I have a friend who he doesn't live in my area. My friend, Andrew Castillo, is a funny comic in Orange County. And sometimes we'll just kind of bounce things off each other. And that's,
Yeah, I highly recommend a writing group.
Yeah, and because you'll get a perspective that maybe you can try and approach it from so many ways. And then there's just one obvious thing. Because that's something, too, where how much easier is it when you see somebody go up and you're like, oh, if they said this, that would be perfect. But it's easier to do that than to just come up with your own idea from scratch. So it's cool to kind of get different perspectives. Or maybe there's just little inflection that you're doing. Or if you put this sentence before and that sentence after. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, like there's been times where I've been like listening to people's sets. And then it's like, oh, they said this one word. And it's like, take that one word and make a joke.
Yeah.
It's a word. It's a topic. But it's not like you're stealing the material because your take on it is like your perspective.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's totally different.
Yeah. And it's weird how that works. How sometimes you can have this huge process where you get to the final punch and that gets the bit. And sometimes there's just the word sounds funny. The adjective you use, whatever it is, just you never know what's going to work and what's not.
Yeah.
It makes it fun.
Yeah, for sure. And as you go, you'll start to instinctively know, like, oh yeah, this is, which one should I use? Another thing I would advise is like, you write it down and then you just say it out loud. Record yourself saying it. It also helps that, it took a minute to say that part.
Yeah. I have thousands of voice notes and I try and go through and delete and then re-record. But yeah, I just do that all the time. Because again, when you're just writing by yourself, there's been times where I would write something and then 2 hours later go up and try it and I'm like, oh, this is the best thing I've ever written. As it's coming out of your mouth, you're like, why did I think this was funny? This is terrible. So it's so much better to write it, record it, listen to it, narrows it down. And then sometimes you write something you think is great, and then you're like, this doesn't sound natural. This isn't the way I actually speak out loud.
Right. When you're trying it out loud ahead of time, you're saving a lot of time.
Yeah, exactly. Why go up and...
Stage time is precious.
Yeah,
why are you sitting around for 8 hours and then going on stage and saying stuff for the first time out loud? That's crazy.
Yeah.
You better have just wrote that while you were watching other people.
Yeah. And that's one thing I do too, since I commute a lot, is sometimes I'll make a little voice note and then as I'm driving I just play it over and over. Or I'm at work, I have an earbud, I'm just listening just to kind of tattoo it in my brain just to get it in there. Yeah.
That's cool. Nice.
And yet I still have a horrible memory. But yeah, it just comes with practice.
Yeah, for sure. And also, like, I suggest don't go up with notes.
Yeah.
Because if you forgot it, there's a reason.
That's a good point. I think I've made that mistake a lot. And there's been times where I go up, I'm like, I don't remember this, and I'm fumbling, but you end up, sometimes you just tank. It's terrible, but a lot of times, like, you just have to find a way to make whatever you're thinking funny, and you come up with a totally different line that you never thought of.
Go in a different direction, you have an extra tag, you had so it doesn't make any sense.
No, and I've made the mistake where sometimes and then you just catch yourself like, I'm just up here reading a book pretty much. Like, what's the point of doing this thing? But
just go to
I'm not.
Mixed Mic and
read
your poetry. Which is nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's just not
it's
comedy.
different. Yeah.
I mean, poetry can be funny, but let's see. And I just like to try everything. So I would suggest also, like, just write a comedy song just for fun and do it on stage.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously don't do it on stage for the first time.
Yeah.
But so maybe you'll fall in love with
find something. Yeah.
Let's see. So did you ever see any comics that weren't that big, and then later on they got bigger, or just as a fan?
There's one, and I don't even necessarily follow him all that much, but I've seen what's his name? Something Glassman. He has a podcast, like Take Your Shoes Off, or Rick Glassman. I don't know. I know he's he's getting really big in LA. Okay. And I saw him years ago featuring for Pablo Francisco at the Ontario Improv. Oh, cool. I saw blanking on the names. It's a funny guy. He's Pakistani comic. Okay. And I saw him a long time ago open up at the Improv. Now he's the like shredded dude in Marvel movies. But yeah, that's so cool. I've seen a few. Yeah, or I saw Louis C.K. a long time ago at the Forum, which felt weird, but it was actually really intimate. But his openers were Joe List, who I'd never heard of at the time, and now he's one of my favorites. And that's cool. Rachel Feinstein, and they're both huge and have specials now.
Cool.
And
yeah. Well, have you ever seen improv or thought about doing improv? Or
I went to like a smaller one years ago. Yeah, that's not quite my thing, but yeah. And that's another thing I like too about stand-up versus music, was that I can kind of be a lone wolf in a lot of ways, because the hardest part of being in a band is bandmates. And that goes for me too. Like, I'm no angel, but sometimes it's just hard to coordinate everything. I always thought, like, man, like, I love going on tour. I love seeing new city. I love that whole process. But sometimes it's hard coordinating it with everybody, or this person's fighting, this person disappeared. And I just thought, man, I would just love to do that alone. Yeah.
That's cool. Let's see. So you have any questions for me, or?
Because you say you've been doing it about 6 years, or
over 6 years.
Over 6 years, okay.
It gets complicated.
Yeah.
It's like, do we count the time during lockdown where I wasn't really able to do comedy? It's like,
how long was that? Like, what, a year and a half?
Yeah, it was pretty
virtually
long.
nothing.
It was almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, it depends, like, where you are. Like if you were in Texas,
oh, I had nothing.
Then like barely anything changed.
Yeah.
But not everybody had that.
Yeah. What have you seen in the last? Because I mean, obviously, everybody's talking about the comedy boom. Like, what have you seen change the most since you started?
Well, like in San Diego, they just keep opening up comedy clubs.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, because I think there's definitely too many comedy clubs open. I mean, it's great. We want to be bigger, but they're really starting to like fight for the limited audience.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great that San Diego has like the Padres and other sports things, but that really it would be nicer. It would be nice if people, the numbers of people that went to a sporting event or went to a bar to watch a sporting event would instead realize they're going to have more fun.
Oh yeah.
If they just go to a comedy club, like unless you're like watching a roast battle, why do you want to root for teams? Like
I agree.
You're not, you're not involved.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, because I mean, when I was younger, I was really into sports, and like all my family's really into sports. But I don't know, I got into punk rock, and once you start doing that, it's like, now that's in the past. But
Sure.
when I was growing up, like my Super Bowl were always the Comedy Central roasts. Like I would be so excited for those every year, and yeah, because it's not necessarily voting for a team, but that's what I looked forward to all year long. Yeah.
So are there roasts in Palm Springs? Or?
Yeah, there's a guy.
I guess there is.
Yeah. His name's Los Digits, and he kind of goes back and forth between LA and I think Indio, and he's been putting on stuff out there. I think he's going to head back to LA soon and focus on that, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I think the next one is the 18th. So I'll see.
18th?
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Did you do, or would you ever do like a Zoom show? Or?
I would. I mean, at this point, yeah, any kind of time I could do, yeah. Like, I don't even care that it's pandemic. Like I said, like, even with a podcast, it's like I just want to do it just to get used to just being funny in any situation,
Right.
yeah.
So, what do you think, like, what format would you have the podcast?
So I had a couple different ideas. I want to just do a couple, not test, but just to do a couple just audio only, and then I want to do video. I want to do it a little different, like, I don't know, like I love a lot of like old like film noir. I kind of want to make it look visually really nice, but at the end of the day, it's just some idiot saying stupid things. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the creative process of putting things together, and yeah. So I want to do like maybe 5 or 6 episodes, short to the point, just me talking or whatever, and then introduce guests, try and do it a little different, and make it look really nice on a tight budget. Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. That's cool. Let's see. So when you're writing, are you writing it on paper, or you put it in the computer?
Put it in the computer. Yeah, I'm such a scatterbrain. I do literally a little bit of everything. I'll write it on paper, print it out, and then I'm writing on that, and then I'm transferring it to a notebook, and I've got notes on my phone, and both like notes typing and then voice notes, and then I try and put it all together at some point. But yeah.
That's interesting.
And yeah, because I had the first inkling to start doing comedy a while back, and it was when I was working, and I used to be a mailroom operator, which meant like I just was mixing these like 50-pound bags of stuff all day, and for whatever reason, the only ideas I would get was when I was in the middle of that. So I would just take these little blank pieces of paper that we would print labels on, and I still have like a shoebox full of those, of a million premise. I mean, looking back, I mean, they were terrible. It was all premise, no punchline, no nothing, but I always get ideas in the most inconvenient times. So sometimes I write them down just on whatever until I can transfer it to something else.
Yeah, I've definitely lost stuff that was only in written form before.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, put it in the cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then also, like, the act of writing out helps you memorize stuff.
It does, yeah. I've noticed that, yeah, typing it, and then even if I typed it, just rewriting it by hand, it just helps me memorize it. Even if I never look at it, it's just, yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Alrighty. So, are there other comics in your area that have come to San Diego? Or
Yeah, there's one. He's not from Palm Springs, but he's always in. He travels all over, and he's only been doing it a year, and I think he's done 800 something mics. Dave Thomas, who's I think he'll be in San Diego tonight, but he's all over the place, and he comes out here a lot.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that guy's like I said, that guy's an inspiration because he's barely doing it at all, and he's hitting. To be in like the Inland Empire and do 5 or 6 mics in a night that's taxing. Yeah, he'll drive. I mean, like 30 miles this way, 20 miles, like just back and forth. But he's hustling.
Well, there you go. You gotta set up your game.
I know.
Or you gotta like try to figure out how to go with him.
Yeah. But I think he's coming down here. He'll probably hit a couple of miles. That's the main reason I want to come down here is to be able to do multiple and one night. And it's since comedy's getting bigger now. Even in my area, I think now you can do a mic like 4 nights a week, which is pretty cool. Because when I first started, I was just doing it once a week at the main club.
You're not gonna get better. Once a week.
No, you're not. So it's been nice to be able to try and do 2 in a night if they line up that way, or at least 1 every day. Try and switch a couple things around. Yeah.
Cool. So are you making friends? Comics.
That's good. Yeah, there's a lot of good people up there, and it's cool seeing people from when I first started. Maybe they'd been doing it a few months, but just how much better they are now, or how much things have changed. Yeah. And then there's the people that they get on stage for whatever reason. You're already laughing, like they just have this natural ability. So it's cool to see both worlds of just people that are just funny no matter what, and then just people that are really working at it and grinding. Yeah.
That's cool. Are there any women in comedy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and even at the Rock Hour, they always have like almost every show there's a female comic, and then they have an all-female show at least once a month, at least. Okay, nice. So it's really, and actually I think Dave Thomas sets those up if I'm not mistaken.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and a lot of my current favorite, I mean, I don't never look at it as like male comics, female comics, but a lot of my favorites are women. Like I love Rosebud Baker out of New York, and I mentioned Rachel Feinstein. I don't know, I think there's so much good comedy right now.
Yeah, that's great. So have you done any sketches or?
No, I haven't done anything like that, but like with the podcast idea I had, like I was thinking of kind of incorporating different things, like not necessarily, I guess they could be sketches, but almost like little vignettes mixed in, just kind of like a multi. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, a lot of different ways.
Cool. Do you have any unusual skills?
I know I'm gonna think of something as soon as I walk out of here.
I
don't know.
Yeah. Good at long, awkward silences.
Oh yeah, I'm good.
That's not an easy skill. To be good at it, just be like no.
I think I've mastered that. Yeah. No, God, I got nothing right. I know I'll think of something weird later.
Fine. You might just accidentally do it. Yeah. You're like, wait, why am I chuckling? No.
Yeah.
So, how did you get into your current job?
That, like right now I work at I do planning and scheduling for an engineering company. I do the production side of that. I don't know, like I accidentally got involved working at a dog food facility for like 8 years. Started as a temp, just looking for any job, just literally a temp in sanitation. I just worked my way up, and then I realized like, I'm actually pretty good at this, and I eventually worked my way up to get hired on full time. Then I was like a supervisor, and then a manager, and then like just under a corporate position, and it was weird to see like, because like I said, with music, I never got like this thing that I loved more than anything, like nothing, and then this job, I'm like, whatever. It's like, so if I applied those skills, maybe I could make something of it. But yeah, it did teach me that I have a lot better work ethic than I ever thought I did.
Oh, that's good.
But But right now, it's not. it's pretty laid back job and it works for comedy.
Oh, okay.
So at least, like I said, I'm on a computer. I'm not draining myself physically, and I can, it sucks having to drive back and forth, but at least I can get off and then go do a mic. I can go, yeah. And I'm not working overtime. Like when I worked at the dog food place, I was working 6-7 days a week. Never knew when I was doing overtime, and that's when I first got the idea of doing stand-up. There's no way it would have worked.
Right.
I would have been able to do it maybe once a month.
Wow.
That would have been pointless, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it would be something, but...
Yeah, you could still meet people.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, I remember you.
Yeah.
So, what was your family like growing up?
My family's pretty awesome. I mean, we all got along really well.
Nice.
My family's really into comedy, which is how I got into that. Like, I remember being a kid, my biggest hero in the world, I wanted to be Damon Wayans. Like, I have pictures where I have, like, the bootleg Kegel hats on backwards, and I'm, like, this little kid. But, yeah, I grew up with the Damon Wayans and In Living Color, and then my mom's... Her dad was really into George Carlin, so I had that influence. And yeah, we all got along great, which doesn't sound ideal to be in comedy, but it worked for me. And just I think by just my yeah,
you need all kinds of comics.
Oh but no, I had my own But family life was great. It was just growing up in a small town that wasn't so great.
What drew you to like punk rock then?
I think it was just being just a weird kid in an area where you just felt, you always notice you're a little different. You don't know why. Right. And then for whatever reason, the first time I heard it, just like, I don't know why, but this is my thing. Okay. And it just, it drew me in. And I wasn't even like, I wasn't a bad kid. Like I didn't drink. I didn't do anything like that. I just loved the shitty music for whatever reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So did you make good friends in that scene?
Oh yeah, I mean that's almost all my friends. My friend that I mentioned earlier from Orange County, Andrew, I know him from music. Okay. And it was later on we both realized like we're the only ones that like a certain type of comedy. Like, oh, I didn't know you liked this. And I met my girlfriend through music. Almost all my friends I met through music. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
And I think I developed kind of like DIY work ethic, make things happen for yourself, don't wait on anybody. Wanting to set up shows, like I did all of that in music, and I think,
maybe you should apply it to comedy.
Exactly, yeah. And like I've booked, years ago, but like I booked tours, so like I understand that. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, what's the furthest away that you did music at?
Furthest away I actually did it. Supposed to do Chicago, never happened. Probably Washington. Did Washington a few times.
Washington State?
Yeah, Washington State. Yeah, I pretty much would just go up the coast, Washington, Oregon, Bay Area, all that, and then done like Vegas, Arizona, which isn't too far, but probably, Washington.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So have you done comedy at a place that you used to do music at?
No, and I there is one that does an open mic where I played one of the worst shows of my life at. Oh, yeah. But I want to go do the open mic because before that I used to go to shows there all the time. Back to the Grind in Riverside, they have like a weekly open. I think that's like the main place in the Inland Empire that they do open mics now.
Okay.
But yeah, I want to go there. Just I got to line it up with work.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then at open mics, what's your favorite way that they handle like the list? You like slotted, you like show up, go up, you like the host putting all their friends up and
yeah, everybody loves that. Yeah. No, I like when you know you're at least gonna get picked. That's the one part I don't like is when you're waiting, or in my case sometimes you drive 2 hours and you're just waiting, and it's like, all right, I guess I'm not going up. But just if even if I don't know when, if it's pulled out, whatever it is, I don't really mind. I generally like to go up early while I still have like my creative juices pumping. But yeah.
So like today, did you call the Comedy Store La Jolla?
Yeah, I called 24 times. I have the list. I'm like, finally they answered.
Yeah, I asked
24
them about
times.
that. She had a doctor's appointment,
Okay.
so she was late, and she said they'd send out an email. It's like, well, who are they sending an email
Yeah.
to? The employees?
Yeah.
'Cause that,
Yeah.
yeah, it should have been. I passed on my.
Yeah, but it is cool that, okay, I tried that. If it doesn't work, there's plenty of other places. Like, they're doing one here tonight, right?
Yeah, they're at the Madhouse 7 nights a week.
Yeah.
Did you sign up ahead of time?
I did, because they said the Google sheet was down, so I left my name and a comment on the post,
okay.
So I don't know. Yeah. I'll figure that out after,
Yeah,
but
you
yeah.
just tell them that you did it. This week is a little different.
Yeah.
There was technical problems. Yeah, it's like I saw it like at 1 o'clock, and then I was like, oh, they'll fix. Oh, maybe this is late or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I wish I would have like jumped on it sooner. And not that it would have got cleared up sooner.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Like, technology can break, unfortunately,
Oh, yeah.
especially if you're not watching it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we're all at the mercy of it.
Exactly. Do you like technology or?
I mean, I do. Like, there's a lot of benefit. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of horrible things going on with it that I think can and already are happening. But, I mean, I'm lucky that in the sense that, like, digital recordings came out where you don't need to have tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment. It's awesome that we're doing this. There's a lot of benefit. I mean, it's great that we have cameras where we can film our sets. You don't need a camcorder and a tripod. It's really convenient. I mean, there's the opposite side. Like, I don't know. I think there's advantages and disadvantages to everything.
Sure.
I'm worried about people using AI to write jokes and stuff. But I mean, at this point, I feel like they can only be so good doing that. But who knows where it'll get? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like hopefully people will come around and realize that they want art made by humans.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that they should using it to like pattern recognition and trends and how can we make the world a better place?
Yeah.
You don't need it to make art.
No, I mean, who's gonna go to a museum with stuff that was made in a second by not a person? I don't get it.
Like if it's like art therapy or like there are specific things like I have a cousin that posted that they've been doing AI art as like part of therapy. And
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. And there are times where it's like it's hard to do everything yourself.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Like there's like I have this lyrics to this song. It's like a country western song, but it's like I'm not really good at making music.
Yeah.
So what do I do? Spend all this time
Yeah.
like making music, or do I just get the best, feed the lyrics and say I want it a country song and and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because it would be nice to be able to like, also I have like carpal tunnel that I'm constantly battling with, so it's like strumming a guitar.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I really want to learn how to play a guitar.
And I think if you need, like, let's say you want a song for this little video, and it's like I have no problem, even as a musician, I have no problem with that. It's if somebody was just be like, oh, make me a song, and then I'm gonna act like I recorded this song, stuff like. But I don't know. I mean, I think that comes with everything. I will say that I've found a lot of things that ChatGPT makes up. Like, I decided one day, like, I wonder if it has any information about my old bands or like my shitty little record label, and it just totally made up some guy from 1987 that created all some, like, I don't know if you could trust this thing all the.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it just made up a whole backstory of, I forgot the name of the guy that was in all of my bands.
Because I haven't really used AI that much. Do you say, can you show me your sources?
I don't know. I've only tried it that one time. I just wanted to see what everybody was talking about, and I was like, let's see how much it really knows, because there's not a whole lot of information. But instead of just being like, we have no data, it just totally made up these stories.
That's awful. That's
Yeah, and that's people swear by it. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely gotta do your research. Even the early internet, you just
Oh,
can't
yeah.
believe everything just because it's online.
Exactly. Because, I mean, I'm guilty of that myself, where I look at something now and I'm like, well, they're just putting there. But, that's kind of been the internet forever. It's no different. All of it is somebody just posting it online.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's not like, even like AI, it's only taking human data and analyzing
exactly,
it
yeah.
and shooting it back out until we actually have, the robots that are physically going around and doing stuff in the real world, and then you can be like, what do you think about gravity? And understands, like, oh yeah, gravity's, it's interesting that, like, let something go, it'll fall down.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember years ago, like I said, I worked at a manufacturing place, and I was kind of worried, like, robots are going to start doing all this packaging. So I went into the management portion of it. And
that's good.
the computers, I literally, like a month or so ago, I saw an AI program for my exact job that I do right now. So I'm like, all right. It's a matter of time before that's gone.
It's hard to escape.
Yeah. Literally, the exact job I do. Just saw a commercial for it on TV.
Yeah, I think one safe one for a while is going to be like the customer service thing. You could still be highly skilled, but also, like, you are making sure the robots do
exactly. You got to work for them.
It's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then also you have to be, if someone wants to talk to someone, you have to.
What the hell do you do?
Person, right? So then you're all like have this many hats. Oh, excuse me, I got this robot over here is having trouble. I'll be right.
Yeah,
with you.
I mean that's really all you can do. You gotta almost watch the robots.
Right. Oh yeah, that reminds me of a skit. Jeff Lewis 5-minute comedy hour. He had like this series where he like goes back in time to like try to correct himself, like in the future, like there's like society is different, and it's like if you're not like married and in a relationship, then you're like a lower class person, and like his job was like just to watch robots, and the robot is like not even doing a good job. It's a funny sketch.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I didn't know I was a comic for a while, but then I sort of like I volunteered. I really like this web series called The Guild.
Okay.
Had like 6 seasons. It was one of like the first like that helped come up with the term of web series.
Yeah.
Along with Red versus Blue and stuff like that. But also was like, because I like that, I found a podcast that the Guild that were talking about behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Became friends with the people that did it, and then they would he would like interview like some like the obviously the cast, the crew, and then a few extras. It's like, oh, it'd be so cool to be an extra, and then it's like, oh yeah, just stay in the loop, and then maybe it'll happen. And then season 5, like they were going to a convention.
Yeah.
The premise of the Guild is it's like basically it's an online guild of WoW players, but it's like they call it the game. Because they can't call it WoW. So they meet in real life. You ever heard of Felicia Day?
I don't think so.
Okay. She's an internet celebrity.
Okay.
She's been on TV too, Supernatural.
Maybe if I saw her, I would know. Yeah. I'm horrible at names.
But so it's a big fan of that. Fan of that. Oh, and then season 5, I got to be an extra. And
Oh, that's
also
cool.
season
Yeah.
6. So I met people that live in LA.
Yeah.
And a few other places too. And then some of them that were in LA moved away.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sucks. But I guess what was the point of all that? I don't remember.
So like kind of what led you to?
Oh,
eventually...
and then Jeff Lewis is one of the people in the guild.
Okay.
And then I got to be an extra on
Yeah,
his,
you're getting your foot in that world.
Yeah, I got to be an extra in like one of his sketches, which was great. So I guess that, it reminded me of that. Oh, that's also like when I would see improv, like they had like this improv group that like some of the members from the guild, just like she first did improv with some of the people that got cast in the guild. But it's funny because then you go see other improv groups and they're like really good at improv.
Yeah,
it's like
different levels.
It's like interesting because you're like rooting for the people that you're already fans of, but it's not always the best improv.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Did you do improv?
I do improv in real life, I guess. Like I always want to like play. And, not always, but there's times I want to.
Yeah.
Do sketches, but I took one like intro class, and it's like, okay, this is way different than stand up.
Yeah.
This is hard in a different way,
Yeah.
You end up sometimes just. I mean, maybe it's just like an exercise, but it's just like some things that you're like maybe not even willing to say on stage, like came up in it, and I'm like, okay, I don't know, this is gonna be a whole other piece. And I can see why
it makes sense. Yeah,
I can see why like a group of improvers can like form a bond because you're being so, you're trying to like do, be in the moment, and you can like stuff can come out that you maybe didn't
weren't planning on.
Exactly. So that's interesting. So I would like to do improv as well. It's just a matter of timing. I guess I have enough time right now, but it's like then I don't really have the money for it. So it's like you gotta have time and money at the same time. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So are there improv groups, did you say, in Palm Springs?
I'm not sure. I mean, I've seen a couple of people online that do it, but I don't know if there's like an actual group or a place that does it. Yeah.
All right. Cool. So how do you feel about social media?
Again, I mean, I think it's easy to focus on the bad, but I mean, that's how we all network. I mean, that's how I became aware of you. That's how I know about these open mics. That's how I found out about the place in Palm Springs. I mean, if you use it for the right reasons, I mean, it can be an incredible thing. You make friends with people all over the world that there's no way you would have ended up having any interaction with. Obviously, it distracts everybody. There's a lot of downside to it, but I don't know. I try and focus on how you can use it to improve yourself, other people.
It's like any tool, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Good or evil.
Yeah. Just depends on how you like to use it.
Yeah.
If you're on there saying horrible things to comedians you don't like, maybe stay away from that. But
definitely. Well, even that you can like, if you just respond with like, "Hey, I'm a person." Sometimes people are like, oh yeah, sorry, I'm just having a bad day.
Yeah.
or a bad life or whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. So how could people find you on the internet?
Just look up Alec V Comedy. Yeah, it'll show up on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, and cool. That is just Alec V, so you don't have to know the Velarde. Makes it easier.
Nice. Yeah. All right. So, is there anything else you want to talk about?
I think that pretty much covers it. Yeah.
Nice.
I just hope to do some mics out here. Come down here more often. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're welcome to come back on the podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
Again.
All right. Appreciate it.
you might have to remind me that you're on, because I try to like do a different thing, but
Yeah.
there's been a couple times where I ask the same questions, like, oh my god.
No.
It's been 2 times that's happened. Like, I vow to never. Like, okay, search the name. Okay.
If you watch any podcast, that things come up over. I mean, you
No,
kind
but
of
I
have
asked
to.
all the same
all
questions.
the
It was so embarrassing.
That
Randy
happens.
Velarde, Tommy Lucera. Oh my goodness. Anyway, well, thanks so much for doing the podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we'll stop and record the promo. Okay, so this has been Comedy or Worse. Bye, everybody.
Bye.